Well, hello, Emerge fans. I am the commish of Emerge. My name is Christopher Lowe, and we're here to talk about the card for our annual Downtown Extravaganza in beautiful Columbus, Indiana. Of course, I'm talking about Downtown Throwdown 3. Later on this evening, we're going to be going over all of the matches and talk about what Downtown Throwdown is all about and what you could expect on Saturday, August 5th. But before we get to that, we're going to talk a little bit about Emerge 22. BAD was able to defeat Legendary to retain the Emerge Tag Team Championships. Great match. BAD continues to look strong. Ron Mathis defeated Pompano Joe. Pretty entertaining match. Both guys been in Emerge a few times. The main attraction, Donnie Idol, was able to retain his Outbreak Championship in a three-way with Kyle Maverick and Mark Vandy. After that, we had it was ugly. Let's just say that the Mastodon, J.D. Mariani, crushed three very unfortunate souls that happened to be in the ring at that time. Then, not so long after that, the Midwest Monster, Jacob Johns, entered the ring. And again, those three unfortunate souls became even more unfortunate after Jacob got a hold of them. Fallout from that, we'll talk about that later on this evening. Conniving Kenneth James was able to defeat Warfare Jeremy Hadley after interference from Dave Davidson, who is now a member of the Hellfire Club. Did not see that coming. Karma is your new Emerge Women's Champion. She defeated Haley Shadows at Emerge 22. Karma was very overcome with emotion after that bout. Anyone that was there could see it. I think she's going to make a fine fighting women's champion for Emerge. So congrats to Karma. And in our main event, Zodiac. Zodiac. What can you say about Zodiac? He's still your Emerge champion. That's the main thing. He was able to defeat Chris Caliber after interference from Horror Show. Again, it put on a great match, and I'm starting to see this more than I care to. A lot of great matches being ruined by interference. That match and the fallout from that directly led to what you're going to see at Downtown Throwdown 3. So with that, let me introduce the host of our Downtown Throwdown 3 live stream. He is your director of all things production, Mr. Casey Johnson. Good evening, Casey.
Man, I tell you, Chris, the Emerge offices need to invest in some WD-40 for that door. I don't know if the listeners can hear that or not, but sweet Lord. And another note, and we were just talking right out there while we were going over our last production notes, the album version of Bob Seger's Turn the Page.
Never heard of it.
I have never heard that before. It's always the live version that gets played.
I've been in radio over a decade, and I had never, ever heard that. So either the live version that you hear on the radio is really good, or I suck at my job. 50-50 shot at this point.
I'm so glad you're a commissioner then.
Because I'm good.
Speaking of people who are good at their job,
oh, yes,
I would like to take this opportunity to, as always, welcome in our third man, my commentary partner, my color commentator extraordinaire and former manager to the Stars, Mr. A.W. Lurch.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that very astute introduction, I must say.
Well, if I didn't give you that kind of introduction, you would yell at me.
He'd definitely complain.
So, obviously, as everybody knows, the reason that we're here is Downtown Throwdown 3. Of course, it's been presented by our friends at QMix and our friends at Yats alongside of us. We cannot do it without them. So thank you to QMix, thank you to Yats, and Yats will be doing a charity tap of their own that night. So while you are there enjoying wrestling, go to your local businesses, especially our friends over at Yats. But all of our local businesses right there on 4th Street. Of course, those of you who have been there before know the deal. We closed down 4th Street, and thank you to the City of Columbus for helping us do this event. We shut down right next to the Commons, and the ring is in the middle of the street. Absolutely free. Bring your lawn chairs, bring everybody that you know, because as we're going to talk about later, this is going to be a big night. This is going to be a night that changes lives.
Right, and for fans, you can't, if you've never been there before, you can't get over the atmosphere of a Downtown Throwdown. It's just a quality wrestling, and everybody's in a great mood. Businesses are open. You can get food, you can get drink. It's a great night to be out in downtown Columbus.
And a lot of times, I think with free shows in the wrestling business, there is a tendency for whatever company is running the show to put out a subpar show for the fans to come see for free, but Emerge...
That's not us.
That is our biggest night of the year.
Yes.
That and our anniversary show are our two big shows, and a lot of things are going to come to a head at this show, but the number one thing that we want to talk about is DSI.
Yes.
We are doing this event specifically to raise money for DSI. Of course, we've had a great relationship with DSI from the beginning.
Of course.
Ran in their gym a number of times. Great people over at DSI, and we want to show them, and we want the Emerge fans to show them, our family here at Emerge, how much you appreciate their support of us over the years. We are trying to, and this perhaps is a lofty goal, but we fully believe we can get there. We're trying to raise $3,000 for DSI that night. There are going to be raffles. There are going to be other systems through which you can donate. Everything from simply passing the bucket to a lot of really good stuff from local businesses that you can compete to win. Why did you set such a lofty goal on that, Chris?
Because we could hit it. I really believe we've got the best fans of any wrestling promotion, and everyone around here knows the great work DSI does. The staff, they're great clients. I really don't believe there's any reason with the card we've got, all the people we're going to pull in to see this product, I don't think we'll have any issues reaching that $3,000 goal. You say it's lofty. I think it's doable. Quite doable.
I think it's absolutely doable, too. And A.W. Lurch, not only that, but anybody with an interest in DSI, as we're going to hear about later, has an innate reason to be there, because this is going to be a very special night for one young man.
Absolutely. Justin Wells, the Tiger, Rocky Johnson, right?
Rocky Jr.
Rocky Jr., excuse me. It's going to be amazing. Speaking of, though, I heard there's also going to be another special assignment for me, Commish. I heard, we got big stars in town. We got big stuff going on. I heard that you got a special announcement for me. Isn't that right? What is it?
Lurch, we talked about this before. I will tell you about it later on after this is wrapped up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be kind of an off-camera thing that...
Okay.
I thought I made that clear, but I could be wrong.
So, Chris, this is a very special Emerge in that this is going back to the idea of a quality show. This is the biggest card that Emerge has ever had. There's not a pre-show match. There are 8 matches, 8 top-notch matches on this main card. Why did you feel it was important to throw an extra match in there?
It's been said before, but it bears repeating. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. The number of fans that have come to Emerge, a lot of them, their first show was a Downtown Throwdown. And that
was my first show.
See?
First time I was there as a fan.
And if you mentioned it earlier, a lot of organizations, when they put on a free show, they're going to get whoever's willing to work, not really care about the product, not have much of a like an entrance or it's just here's a ring, here's a couple of guys, watch it. And we're not about that. We're about having the full experience you would see at any Emerge show at this free event, because first off, we want to thank the fans that come out each and every month.
Absolutely.
And we're hoping to grab a few more.
And Chris, we are in the business of putting not necessarily the lower tier talent on this show. We want to put people on this show who have been successful in Emerge, and so I think that brings us to our first match.
Yeah, Johnny Justice versus Trevor Court. Johnny Justice, he's won pre-show match. He's always about being on an Emerge card. Even when he can't get on, he's always calling the office. This time, it's on Emerge's biggest stage at Downtown Throwdown 3. He'll be facing off against one of Emerge's toughest individuals, the bronzed one, Trevor Court.
Greatest show on earth.
Greatest show on earth. I apologize.
Lennox Norris is already mad.
Yeah, I didn't help things right there, did I?
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will.
Trevor Court is the next Outbreak champion in my book. I mean, he was the MVP of that ladder match, if you ask me. I mean, he was amazing in that match.
Yeah, we talk about Mark Vandy, who nearly broke his neck getting put through the table. Who put him through that table other than the greatest show on earth, Trevor Court? And I was rewatching the footage of that because I cannot tell you how many times I have gone back and rewatched Emerge 20.
Oh, no doubt.
Of course, from the pre-show match, which ironically Johnny Justice was in, defeating Rick Ramsey, from the pre-show match all the way to the main event, and especially that main event, that was one of the best shows that I've ever attended in my life. I was rewatching it, and I made a comment at some point about how Trevor Court fancies himself the greatest show on earth and how he was going to have to be the greatest show on earth to pull out the win there. The win did not necessarily happen, but he gave us one of the most frightening moments that I've ever seen, especially, Lurch, as you were sitting there right next to it.
Yeah, and when we do our 10th anniversary, that's still going to be a highlight.
Yes.
7 years from now.
We had to dodge pieces of that table when he pile drived Mark Vandy straight off the ring through the table. I mean, wow, Trevor Court.
I watched this one piece of table go all the way and just arc up into the second row. It was crazy. But, of course, we warned all of our fans beforehand, be ready to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in Emerge, things explode. And so I think, of course, Trevor Court was supposed to be at Emerge 21.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he was involved in an accident, wasn't able to be there, and he had a big match that night against Sage Phillips. And a lot of people would think that if he would have been there, he would have beaten Sage Phillips, who was fresh out of an injury. Instead, Sage Phillips got the average white guy and put up an above-average effort in beating the average white guy.
He's perfectly adequate.
Yeah. Trevor Court is the kind of guy who carries a chip on his shoulder for a while, and I think he's desperate to prove himself. But not only that, Johnny Justice, everywhere that Johnny Justice goes, I think he shines. But I think he's used to being a bigger fish in a smaller pond, so to speak. And I think when he jumped into the ocean that is Emerge, he realized he's going to have to fight his way to get to the top, and I've talked to him. He's really, really willing to do that.
Yeah, and going back to Trevor, he's a guy that's been here for a long time, and even before I became commissioner, you take a look at that guy and you see champion. I think for Trevor personally, 2017, 2018, if he doesn't capture a title, that chip that you mentioned is only going to turn into a boulder. And
I would hate to see the levels of anger that we would see from him.
It's the quiet ones you've got to look out for.
Yeah, well, he's anything other than quiet if you've ever seen his ring entrance, but I do get what you mean. Lurch, what do you think of Johnny Justice, though?
Oh, everybody was talking about Johnny Justice. Johnny Justice. We all like Johnny Justice at the pre-show. Big deal. I don't think Johnny Justice has it in him. I don't think he can really go up against an athlete like Trevor Court. I mean, Johnny Justice, he's tough. He's good for Emerge. The fans were cheering him on, but Trevor Court, MVP, next Outbreak champ, mark my words.
What do you really think?
If there's one thing that A.W. Lurch is good at, it's telling you what he really thinks.
Yeah, that's true.
But speaking of championships, we have a championship match up next, and this match may seem a little out of the blue. Like you were driving around in your car and needed to put another match on the card, so you just threw some stuff together. But you actually have a really good thought process for this particular match. So I want you to kind of go into it because you have booked what I think is the sleeper match of the night and what could be an amazing match.
Thank you, Casey, and that's because I'm highly intelligent. But BAD, the Emerge Tag Team Champions, are going to face off against the team of Anthony Lee and Alistair Wilde. Now wait, you're saying, are these guys a team? Wilde and Lee? The answer, no. So why are they getting a tag team title shot? Because both men, last time we saw Lee, he was at Downtown Throwdown 2. Great performance that night. And since then, he's been honing his craft in other promotions around the area. I've decided to bring him back for Downtown Throwdown 3 to give him a shot. They say when you've got something to really fight for, that's when you're going to put on your best effort.
And I've been watching Anthony Lee over this last year, too. And Anthony Lee is not the same guy who beat Mr. Paul Milton at Downtown Throwdown last year. Anthony Lee has, again, like we were talking about before, and it seems to be a theme here with people, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't understand why he got a win in Emerge on Emerge's biggest show of the year, and then he hasn't been back since. And I've been watching him, and he has become a very dangerous man over this last year, and he has a lariat that will take your head off.
Stan Hansen-esque.
And what about Alistair Wilde?
Speaking of another very dangerous man, a man who was so dangerous, you tried to suspend him indefinitely, and even that didn't work.
No. What more can you say about Alistair Wilde? He's very passionate about what he does. He's very good at what he does. And quite frankly, I'm interested to see how the dynamic between Lee and Wilde works out as they go up against the well-oiled machine that is BAD.
Of course, we've seen with, teams that have been thrown together before, a lot of times, who would have thought that somebody like Luke Lawson and Mance Warner, when they were thrown together, would make such a great duo as Guns and Aggression has become across the Midwest? I think we have two people here who, let's just say it, they're kind of unhinged.
That's fair.
And it's either going to be a situation where they come together and their insanity works together to create sanity, or it's all going to fall apart at the seams. And this could be the beginning, I think, of something amazing for these two young men. We just have to see how they go up against BAD, who... BAD has undergone a transformation here in this last little bit. I had never seen Chris Morris smile before Emerge 22.
Yeah.
And it could be said that he was laughing at Legendary, because why would you not? But I think ever since they've started receiving the support from the fans, as Lurch no doubt rolls his eyes, I think they've got a new pep in their step. And it's really doing well for them because they are on a run right now that rivals their first run that lasted nearly a year.
Yeah, and I would not have expected that because the BAD of old were just dominant. They'd roll right over you. Yet this BAD is pretty much the same thing.
They do it with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we saw Alistair Wilde not only attack with people with a lead pipe. He eliminated Dakota Prodigy last show with a lead pipe and a hammer. Are you serious right now?
Yeah, there was a very colorful hammer that was pulled out from under the ring and was attempted to be used in the pre-show match, but who knows?
If you're going to take down those Yukon lumberjacks, it's best to start with a hammer. I think it's probably a good strategy by Alistair.
Well,
we're going to make sure that the tools and such I'm going to ask the ring crew to make sure they're put somewhere else.
The hardware, so to speak. So that's going to be for the Emerge Tag Team Championships. What an amazing win that would be for Alistair Wilde and Anthony Lee if they were able to emerge.
Hey, that's good.
and become the tag team champions. What an upset that would be at Downtown Throwdown 3.
And that's why I put the match together. You see two guys that are that talented, and sometimes you just got to shoot for the moon, and this is a moonshot.
Well, up next we have a three-way that, I'm going to say it now, this has the potential to be match of the night. There are a lot of match of the year contenders on this card, and I am not exaggerating. But this has the potential to be one of them. We've got two School of Rock guys and a former tag team champion all fighting for the same spot, more or less.
More or less. You got to think whoever wins this bout is going to be in line for a title shot at some point down the line, and I'm sure all three men know this. Of course, we're talking about
Luke Lawson, the sharpshooter, who has become heartless.
That's a good word.
Since we last saw him. Originally, when Luke Lawson came into Emerge, he was more along the lines of the happy-go-lucky guy, and he called himself the sharpshooter, but I don't think the edge was there. Last year at Downtown Throwdown 2, when he and Mance Warner faced off against Caliber and Gregory Iron, I think the edge was there.
Mm-hmm.
Now Luke Lawson has transformed into a cold-blooded killer. There is no other way of putting it. He is dangerous, he is ruthless, and he is heartless. And he always kind of referred to his opponents as targets, and it was like, yeah, they're targets. But now he looks at them as targets. And unfortunately, there is a big bullseye right on that knee of Sage Phillips.
Yeah, of course, Sage came back last month at Emerge 22. How long was he out? Like 6-7 months?
Right at 6-7 months.
And we all wondered, after that much time, you got to wonder if there's ring rust. He showed no remnants of that ring rust. So, but you're right, there's still a target there. And the sharpshooter is going to be focused in on that like a laser.
And I think I like about Luke Lawson is he does not care. I mean, he is vicious. He is aggressive. He's willing to attack at all costs. He does not care, and that's
well, he cares about winning, and he cares about success.
Of course.
That's it.
And most importantly, he cares about his money.
Yes.
He refers to his opponents as contracts, as targets. I mean, some people in wrestling fall under, the category where they're more of a good guy. Some people are more of a bad guy. Luke Lawson is a mercenary.
Yes.
And he, if Ricky Ruckus were to hire him, would be the same as if the Hellfire Club hired him. He doesn't care who he's beating up. He just wants to get his paycheck at the end of the day.
He's the Agent 47 of the professional wrestling world.
Yes.
And he better be ready for some quick-moving targets. Let's just not leave Sage Phillips and Aaron Anarchy lightly.
Aaron Anarchy as well. Of course, he's the third man in the match. Aaron Anarchy, a former tag team champion here in Emerge, who has made the decision to go out on his own. And he is looking for singles gold in Emerge. And what a better way to figure out what he wants to do and to prove himself as on Downtown Throwdown 3. Of course, at the first Downtown Throwdown, Aaron Anarchy had one of the best matches of the night against a young Cole Radrick.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, we know where Cole Radrick went in Emerge. It's through a ladder, but still, my point stands. Where can Aaron Anarchy go if he wins this match?
Aaron Anarchy is a guy who, like you mentioned, has had massive success in the tag team ranks. Quite frankly, I'm surprised he didn't decide to go solo sooner than he has. He's still a young guy. He's got all the talent in the world. The only thing people knock him for is his size, but he's proven over and over and over again, like a guy like Donnie Idol, it doesn't matter if you've got the talent.
And when BAD lost the tag championships at Emerge 11 Emergence Day, who got the pin?
Aaron Anarchy.
Aaron Anarchy. So he is going, I think Aaron Anarchy is going to be a stronger name in the Emerge singles ranks than people give him credit for.
I think that could very well be true.
I don't know. Any more thoughts from you, Lurch?
I can't wait for target practice. I definitely got Luke Lawson in this match.
You know, I would be hard pressed to disagree, because Luke Lawson is ready to fight himself into this spot. But so is Sage Phillips. Sage Phillips wants to establish himself as a monthly Emerge guy again, somebody who's around here all the time. And Aaron Anarchy has everything in the world to prove.
Yes.
Speaking of everything in the world to prove, now we're at the real bronze one. Chris.
Yeah, Lennox Norris, he's going up against a former Emerge champion, Poison Apollo star. Anyone who watches has seen a bit of a shift in the mindset, I think, of the bronzed one. This match against Poison, I think it's all about respect.
I think it is too, and these guys both have two very prolific careers, and the two men have one thing in common. They lost to Zodiac.
True.
For the Emerge Championship.
Lennox should have won the title. He should have won the championship at Emerge 21. Lennox, I feel like he's being held back here at Emerge.
I can't disagree with you, but as well at Emerge 19 Aftermath, many would argue that Apollo should have won that match as well, had it not been for quote-unquote shenanigans on the part of Zodiacs. I think the difference here between these two men is we did backstage interviews with both of them afterwards, and Apollo was very, I will be back, I will prove myself, I'm not going to let this get me down. Meanwhile, Lennox immediately rolled out of the ring and took my commentary headset and started screaming into it. I think Lennox Norris is becoming increasingly unstable, and it's going to be important for him to hone that in and to tie that in, because Apollo Star, like we said, former Emerge champion, the man who beat J.D. Mariani one-on-one with a 3 count at Emerge 14 Trilogy. And it was, Apollo is, again, looking to become one of those guys that comes back on a monthly basis. And so he really, really wants this shot. Lennox does too. Who do you think's got it?
But you got to think. I can understand Lennox's mindset. Could you imagine being that talented and to come up short as often as he has? It's got to be frustrating.
Oh, and it was clear that he was frustrated when he took over your headset, like you said, Casey. He's on a mission. He deserves better in this organization, and I think Lennox Norris is going to see a victory here and get better.
But as the same time, Lennox took the headset, which people would disparage him for or whatever, but the fans were irate after that match, much as Lennox was. Everything that Lennox has been frustrated about so far is understandable.
Absolutely.
And he's perfectly justified in his anger, but I don't think that anger is going to allow him to overcome Apollo Star.
You're right. Anger is a great motivator for some people. It is a distraction for others, and it's going to be interesting to see how it affects Lennox.
So, on the topic of anger, you go ahead, Commish.
Battle Beast.
Because I was way too close to this when it happens, as was Lurch, so you just take a second.
The Mastodon, J.D. Mariani, the only two-time Emerge champion, is going to face off against, quite frankly, his protege, the Midwest Monster, Jacob Johns. We could all see that there seemed to be seeds of discontent among this team over the last few months, but I don't think anyone expected Jacob to pretty much just Pearl Harbor the Mastodon. JD, quite frankly, he deserves better, and I feel bad for Nikki.
Here's.
Wait just a second. You're telling me you booked J.D. Mariani versus Jacob Johns. Now, have you even stopped to think about Nikki Mariani? That poor woman is going to be having to sit there at ringside and watch her men battle each other like the beasts that they are.
Well, that's what happens when Nikki Mariani tries to treat both of these huge men like dogs. I mean, every month when we saw J.D. Mariani and Jacob Johns, it was building. We all knew it was building, and what was it every time? I've got this. I'll figure this out. And don't get me wrong, I do think it was a cowardly attack from Jacob Johns. He attacked J.D. Mariani. I never thought I would see the day. As much crap as J.D. Mariani has put me through when I side with J.D. Mariani. But J.D. Mariani is completely justified in his anger. He would be justified in ripping Jacob Johns' head off. Now, of course, Nikki sides with her husband here, and why wouldn't she? We've said that from the beginning. But Nikki Mariani got herself into a situation with the Battle Beast because, Jacob Johns has been the android that does his orders when asked. And now he has become sentient.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. He is wondering why he's taken her orders for so long. And while I have to say I feel bad for JD, I can understand, and I'm not giving Nikki all the credit in the world because I think she brought some of this on herself. But either way, Jacob Johns was not justified in putting his hands on JD like that. But what a threat now Jacob Johns is to JD Mariani. Tell me this, Chris Lowe, because you've been there since Emerge 1. How many times has JD Mariani not been able to walk out under his own power?
Prior to the last show, 0.
And now it makes 1, A.W. Lurch.
Well, I mean, you try to say that Jacob Johns was being cowardly. If you ask me, JD was the one being cowardly at the last show.
Say what now?
Yeah, could you just elucidate more?
You mentioned that Jacob Johns is a coward, and in the meanwhile, you've got JD trying to hide behind his wife. You should be ashamed of yourself, Commish, for even making Nikki Mariani sit here and watch this match. And if you ask me, if anybody's a coward, it's J.D. Mariani. No matter how many times he's been left.
It's like you can see him trying to build his case as he's saying it.
Are you trying to tell me? First off, both men want this match. I didn't have to ask. They absolutely. If Nikki doesn't want to be between them, she can stay home. Nobody's making her be there. And this is, first off, my job is to put together great matches. This is going to be a great match.
I can't deny it is going to be a great match. I feel like sometimes when Lurch is trying to dig himself out of a hole, he's like that picture of Charlie Day from Always Sunny standing in front of his conspiracy wall or whatever.
No.
It's like he's just...
You people just don't pay attention to the fine details. That's what I'm saying. Pay attention, people.
We also don't create our own details. Moving on to the next match, we have Jerry
Alternate facts.
Andrews himself versus ATM Austin Tyler Morris, the pretty young thing.
And, of course, Austin Tyler Morris will be accompanied by his tag team partner, again, former tag team champions, Picture Perfect, Jordan Cage.
Are they tag team partners anymore, though?
Well,
I mean, Jordan Cage was not very happy, and I received a message a couple days ago from Austin Tyler Morris asking that he change his music that he comes out to, and it's...
See, I didn't know that.
It's pretty funky. It's really upbeat, and I feel like...
Well, that doesn't fit at all.
I mean, when ATM lost those titles against BAD, there was a handshake and there were hands raised. and I gained a lot of respect for ATM that night. Of course, for those of you who weren't there or haven't bought the DVD, which you should buy the DVD because it's a good one, Jordan Cage tries to get ATM to clock BAD with the belt.
Of course, Jordan Cage is out. That he was unable to wrestle that night due to an injury.
He has a broken foot, and still, we are told by he and his doctors he will not be cleared by Downtown Throwdown either.
Right.
Still won't be able to walk, but he will be there. And so ATM refuses to do so, and he ends up, in the words of Jerry Andrews, dropping the ball, but he ends up out of the ring, gets thrown out of the ring. Jerry Andrews tries to capitalize with the title, misses, and then he got caught with the misery whip from BAD.
All Austin Tyler Morris had to do was take that belt from Jordan Cage and knock out whoever was in the ring. I don't remember who. Knock him out, and they would still be walking out of there with the belts. Do you not want to keep the belts?
He didn't want to take the cheap way out. You got to respect that.
Jordan Cage didn't take the cheap way out. That scooter looked like it cost him $2,000. He scooted right out of there too.
I've always wanted to ride one of those. What are your thoughts on Jerry Andrews?
I thought Jerry Andrews was quite the competitor. I liked him. I liked what I saw in there. He from what I remember, did try to use the belt anyway. I'm not saying it worked out, but whatever. I like Jerry Andrews. I like what I'm seeing out of him. Austin Tyler Morris, he needs to start using his head. Is all I can say. I was a Pretty Perfect fan at one point, but I don't know.
I don't think there was any person who was higher on Pretty Perfect than A.W. Lurch.
And this is true.
Well, it's time to move on to our two main events, and they are fantastic.
Absolutely.
And first, we are going to start with the match, one of the matches, but I would say the match that everybody has been waiting for an update on.
Yes.
After the interference on the part of Horror Show and the shenanigans to end the main event at last show, you told Jason Saint to come to Downtown to bring Zodiac, Haley Shadows, and whoever else he wanted to bring, and they were going to go up against Caliber, Karma, and former ECW champion, former WWF Hardcore champion, former WCW light heavyweight champion, and a man who is a bona fide superstar in this industry, Raven. Here's my question. Have you heard from Horror Show as to who this third man is?
Actually, yes. Last week I put in a call to Jason Saint, letting him know that we were doing the live stream tonight, and I was going to need a name, who that third person was, and it is none other than Joseph Schwartz.
See, now that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Schwartz and Zodiac, honestly, this is what I feared. Of course, Zodiac and Schwartz make the bomb shelter, and they are maybe one of the most dangerous tag teams in the entire Midwest right now. Currently, they hold tag team titles in another promotion that were previously held by Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
These guys are very dangerous, and this third piece of the puzzle is going to be very dangerous. And we were promised by Chris Caliber that he would call in, so I'm expecting that to probably happen just about any time now that he's heard Schwartz is going to be here.
Yeah, I'm curious as to hear Caliber's reaction to this, because he didn't mind. He told me it doesn't matter who the third person is. He just wanted Zodi in the ring.
And not only that, Chris Lowe, this match will be contested under Raven's rules. No disqualification, outside interference is not only permitted, but in some cases encouraged.
Yes.
All I got to say is I'm happy Jason Saint is going to be ringside to make sure that nothing goes wrong, nothing goes out of the ordinary. We've obviously had, speaking of who I was about to talk to, or talk about.
Chris Caliber?
Yes, sir.
So, I assume you have heard who the third man is.
I have. That's a pretty major announcement.
Yeah, for sure. What are your thoughts?
Well, I know Jason Saint. I know Zodiac. I knew they were going to go with somebody that they were familiar with, that they knew they could count on, and Joseph Schwartz is that guy. The bomb shelter is nothing to play with. They're coming for a fight, and we're going to give it to them.
So, have you had a chance to talk with Raven at all?
I spoke with Raven earlier today, and he doesn't know about Joseph Schwartz yet, but he's looking forward to mixing it up with Zodiac and Haley Shadows, and I'm sure he's not afraid of Joseph Schwartz.
No, not at all. A.W. Lurch, do you have any questions for Mr. Caliber?
Are you all sure you all are ready to take on the bomb shelter headlined by Jason Saint? Yes, I said two you alls because this is a major match. I mean, after what I've seen, there's no way you all can beat the bomb shelter. That's three.
You know, I kind of like being the underdog. I was the underdog against Zodiac last month, and I took him to his limit. There's nobody in the Murders that took Zodiac where I took Zodiac. He had to cheat. He had to use a belt shot to beat me. So for you to say there's no way we can defeat them, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way they can beat us.
And speaking of your match against Zodiac, I have heard tell that you actually sustained quite the injury during that match. How are you feeling?
I came out of that match pretty beat up, and I'm still healing from those. I got 2 broken ribs. I had some tooth pushed through my bottom lip. It was a fight. But that's what I come for. Every month I come for a fight. And come August 5th, I'm going to be ready to fight again.
All right. So, my final question is, are you bringing any toys?
I will leave that one to be a surprise. We know this match is Raven's rules. We know Zodiac wanted to use a chair at Bulletproof. He wanted to use a belt at Bulletproof. So we'll let that be a surprise to the fans of what we come up with and what we want to play with at that show.
Speaking of toys, how about the Barbie killer? I can't wait for Haley Shadows to actually get her hands on Karma and rip her Barbie head off.
Jeebus.
Do you have a death wish?
She did well last month. She got her hands on her, and the punk rock Barbie come out on top.
So, if we can move along from that point as quickly as possible, Commissioner, can you please get us away from that?
Again, Chris, thank you. People don't know Chris was instrumental in getting Raven to come to Emerge, so I just wanted to say thank you again for all you've done in helping me to get him signed.
Hey, it's not a problem. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to bring him in for the Emerge fans to interact with and meet, possibly take pictures with, everything else, and put on a great event to raise money for DSI.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris. Well, we thank you for your time, brother.
Hey, thanks, guys.
What's the matter with you?
Wow. You really like to put it all out there, don't you, Lurch?
You know what? You have to say what you mean if you want to get your point across, and that is exactly what I mean. The Emerge crowd better watch out. If you're scared, if you're scared of people like Haley Shadows ripping off Barbie heads, be prepared. And by the way, speaking of being prepared, isn't there an assignment?
My God.
Isn't there? Can I not prepare myself for my assignment? I mean, is this not? I mean,
Okay.
Come on, Commish. I know what it is. You brought in A.W. Lurch, the journalist to the stars. I know what's going on here. I mean, just go on and tell the people. I know we got one. I mean, go on. Come on.
First off, there is going to be a special interview with Raven.
Yes.
And that is going to be done by none other than Casey Johnson.
What? Are you kidding me?
No. No, I have another assignment in mind for you. Unfortunately, that's going to take you away from town during Downtown Throwdown. You're going to be out on assignment.
What, are you serious? Just because I'm under contract, you think you can ship me wherever I want? I mean, this is
probably
the worst.
a good idea to be away from Caliber, considering what you just said.
This is the worst assignment that a commissioner has given me since Commissioner Payne. I'm out of here. Just find somebody else to fill in my commentary.
Well, that went well.
So you're telling me that I get to do a podcast with Raven?
You get to do a podcast with Raven.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I know you told me to be a little bit more professional on these shows. Oh my God! I'm sorry. That's going to be awesome. I will attempt, however, to conduct myself as professionally as possible, even though I will be fanboying out the entire time, and I have a framed autograph of Raven at my house. But
and we'll be talking more about the when and where. And
yeah, and I want to actually put out a call to the Emerge fans, I guess. If you guys have any questions that you want me to ask Raven about his career, about anything he's done in professional wrestling, drop them in the comments right now, and I will be putting out another post, I guess, later on to ask you what you want me to ask Raven. Thank you, Commissioner Lowe, for this opportunity.
I know you'll do a great job.
Yeah, and I guess we got a clear headset now that we're talking about our other main event. The East Side Elite.
Yes.
Of course, at last show, we saw it was the greatest thing that I've ever seen in a wrestling ring. After Donnie Idol won his Outbreak Championship, he called Justin Wells into the ring. Of course, Justin Wells is a DSI client, and for years now, Justin has had the dream of becoming a professional wrestler.
Yes. One of the first times I met Justin was, I'm going to say about 2 years ago. And this is when I was ring announcing, and he came up to me with an essay he had written about how he wanted to be a professional wrestler, and asking about what he could do to help that become a reality. And since I'm not a wrestler, I told him I would ask around, see what I could find out, and I just happened to mention it to Donnie and Ricky one day, and here we are.
Yeah, and I think what Donnie Idol said there when he took the mic was very profound. As somebody who has known Donnie for almost 10 years now, I have watched people tell him that he couldn't make it. Mm-hmm. I have watched people tell him that he couldn't do it. And a lot of people have said the same thing about Justin. And whether or not he can make it remains to be seen, but
he gets an opportunity.
He's going to get his shot.
Yes.
And you were just telling me before we walked in that our man out in the field, Richie, sent a video to you from the Hellfire Club where he attempted to get an interview with them, but I hear that there might have been a challenge.
There might have been.
Of course, we will make sure to obtain the video and post it on the Emerge Facebook and YouTube soon, but
the Hellfire Club's a completely different animal. I mean, but what a match it's going to be. Eastside Elite versus the Hellfire Club. You got the main attraction, Donnie Idol, your Emerge Outbreak champion. You've got Ricky Ruckus. They'll be teaming with the Tiger, as he's going to be known, Rocky Jr., going up against Conniving Kenneth James, Joey Moore, the Chi-Town Stretcher, Johnny Stratland. It's going to be a great main event.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing, and you've got to think that the whole world, at least as far as Columbus goes, is forming around this event right now. We have got a lot of different things in the works, and I know a lot of times people come on these kind of shows and they say, we got a lot of stuff going on, and it's complete BS, but really, we have got so much going on, and you are going to be hearing, first of all, here, I believe, actually a week from today on QMix, 10 a.m., we're going to have a live interview on QMix with Rocky Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is definitely going to be interesting. More details will come on that later. We have got some people on board in some very high places to help us make that happen. Be watching the Emerge Facebook page, and more than anything, come to the show.
And bring people.
Bring as many people as possible. This show is for DSI, and it is for one very, very special DSI client in Justin Wells. And we are going to
Can you imagine how he feels right now?
I tell you what, we have already been to DSI since then. We did a complete photo shoot with Justin. I got some video footage. I'm editing it into what will hopefully become a documentary. And he is through the moon. The people at DSI say that he just smiles all the time, and he's so ready for this match. As a matter of fact, I was just running the camera to capture some footage of, him dressing and whatnot and putting on his boots, and he turned right toward the camera and launched into what we call a promo.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes. He stared right into the camera, and he talked about what he's going to do in Emerge. And it's honestly one of the most heartwarming, inspiring things that I've ever had the opportunity to be a part of. And the Hellfire Club does not care.
None. So, again, two very interesting dynamics are going to be colliding in that ring. And as a fan, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, me too. And as a person who has family members who are DSI clients, I'm very, very excited to be able to help DSI. Again, $3,000 is what we're going for. And on a personal level, I would love to be able to hand them 5 or 6 at the end of the night, because I know that we can make that happen.
Yes, we definitely can.
Immediately after we go off the air tonight, the Emerge Facebook page will be sharing the official flyer. The flyer with Justin on it, the flyer with Raven on it, and I assume by now Joseph Schwartz has been added. We were keeping the spot for whoever ended up being that third man. Go to the Emerge Facebook page and share it. Hashtag Emerge, hashtag Downtown Throwdown 3. Tag everybody you know. Very soon there will be an event created. Invite everybody you know. We are looking to fill this street to the brim.
Yes.
We're working with our friends at Guitar City to upgrade our sound system, make sure that it covers the entire place, and we are going to make this as big of an event as Emerge has ever had. And it's not only that, too. You go through this entire card, right?
Yeah.
And it's top-notch match after top-notch match. This is one of the most stacked cards Emerge has ever had, and it all culminates in making somebody's dream come true. August 5th, 5 p.m., admission starts at 4. And we would say doors open, but again, there are no doors.
No doors. Just bring your lawn chair.
Bring your lawn chair. Get a seat up near the front. Get a seat near the back. You'll still have a great view. Enjoy some wrestling. Go enjoy places like the CB, Puccini's, the Garage, Yats, all of our lovely, lovely people who have donated to us for raffles. Go enjoy local businesses and let's raise as much money as humanly possible for DSI. And from there, Commish, I'll let you take it.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, so you really sold it there. 8 great matches on tap for Downtown Throwdown 3, Saturday, August 5th on 4th Street in beautiful downtown Columbus. Again, we could not do this without the help of Yats and Q-Mix. They really went above and beyond in helping us get this event put together. Again, this is all for DSI, not just for one client, even though he's going to be the star of the show. He's going to be in that main event, Rocky Jr. We're trying to raise money for a very good organization, great people working with great clients. $3,000 is our goal. I have no doubt we'll reach it, and I have pretty good confidence we're going to go beyond it. So Saturday, August 5th, we're going to let people come in around 4 o'clock. Bell time is 5. We'll see you there.